Hello, welcome. The second online Greenbackers pitch event. It's bigger and better than the event we put on in May, which was our first online event. And a very sincere thank you from all of us here at Greenbackers for joining us today. We have some more features. We have our exhibition area where you can visit our event partner stands and the pitching companies and speak via video call to them one-on-one. And we will be asking for your views in a couple of live polls. And of course, we're delighted that Scottish Government Minister Ivan McKee will be providing an opening address. But more of that later. I am Andrew Smith, one of the Greenbackers directors, and it's my pleasure to be your host and event guide for the afternoon. We're using an event hashtag, hashtag Greenbackers Pitch, and we will be tweeting and posting on LinkedIn throughout the event. If you use social media, please join in, perhaps with a photo of where you're joining us from across the world today. So here's what's happening in the session this afternoon. If you're having any issues at all, please use the live support button, top right of your screen, and you'll get some help there. The last 45 minutes of the day, after around 4:50, we will officially open the exhibition area, and you can go there on an exclusive basis. Each pitch will be followed by that pitch attendee heading over to their booth, so you can go meet them anytime. What I'd like to do now is talk about a little bit about our team, and specifically to introduce Mark Hannigan. Mark joined us from Houston earlier this year, and we're really delighted to have him in the team. He's a global Scot and has built and exited businesses, and he has extensive networks in the US and further afield, and is a strong addition to our business. Mark, do you want to join me on the main stage? Hi, Mark. How are you doing in Houston today?
Good afternoon, Andrew. I'm great, thank you.
Good. It's a real pleasure to have you in the team, and we're going to help you grow our network over there in the good old US of A.
Yes, I'm absolutely delighted to have joined the Greenbackers organization at this key inflection point in the energy transition, especially here in Texas and across North America. And I'm really looking forward to the presentations today.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much indeed. And you're also leading on our social media today, so I'll let you get off the main stage and get to doing stuff on LinkedIn and tweeting, etc. Thanks very much, Mark.
Pleasure.
Okay, a little bit of housekeeping now, and what I'd like to do is launch our first live poll. You should note that the session is being recorded today. And if there's any questions you want to ask during the pitches, there is a live Q&A session. Now, all of those questions will be captured, and we will revert back to you post the event with answers to them. My colleague, John Steedman, will be putting the questions to the pitching companies, but given time constraints, obviously, we'll only be able to do one or two of those. But we will certainly get back to you with full responses to all of your questions and create a really good feedback loop. And the other thing mentioned here is the feedback form. You'll have in your inbox now or very soon an email from us with the feedback form embedded. It's an online form, and we'd really ask you to complete that and send it back to us. It really helps us to make sure that we only come back to you in respect of companies in which there is an interest. So what I'd like to do now is progress on to the little bit about us and our programs. So we carry out managed fundraisers. Obviously, we do this pitching series twice a year, and we see this now as the new normal. we are technology scouts, so we're tracking at any one time something like 1,500 technology companies. And increasingly, we're finding funds and funders are asking us if we can look at helping them get into specific areas. And obviously, we are very happy to do that. We have excellent global connections, and we deploy those to the benefit of all of our clients. We assist early stage techpreneurs and go through quite a detailed process to help them out. And that really begins with really getting our heads around their businesses and helping them to progress to an investable stage. Here's some notes on a few completions we've done in the recent past. We're very proud and pleased to have helped these businesses close out their equity rounds. And the current fundraisers that we're working on for Vestemi and Quarry Battery. Vestemi have a stand in our exhibition area, and you can go and visit that at any time. You can see the Vestemi team, and they'll be delighted to chat with you. Now, Vestemi are in very initial discussions with a potential lead right now, but there's room for others to join if that's of interest. Quarry Battery also have a stand in our exhibition area, and if that looks interesting to you, please head on over there now and join them. So, all of that said, what I would like to do now is introduce onto the main stage our keynote speaker, who is Ivan McKee. Now, Ivan McKee is MSP. He's a Minister for Trade, Investment and Innovation in the Scottish Government. In his career, he's worked in a number of countries, including Poland, Croatia, Finland, Norway, Bosnia and Estonia, as well as Scotland and England, of course. And after obtaining his BSc and BEng in Manufacturing Sciences and Engineering from Strathclyde University, and an MBA from Newcastle University, he worked for a number of large and startup manufacturing companies before joining government. So if Minister McKee is available, I'd like to bring him onto the stage. If he's not available to join, we'll pull him in just whenever he arrives. So I'll come back and bring on the Minister when he's joined us. Before we get to the pitches, I'd just like to give you the view from our wheelhouse, what we see coming down the tracks. So COVID and post-COVID, we see ESG and green bonds in action. We see many organizations and many reports which are hinting that this will be real and not just something people are talking about. What I'd like to do now is break off and just go back and introduce Ivan McKee onto the stage. We're very grateful to Ivan McKee for joining. Ivan, thank you very much indeed, and over to you to address some 500 plus international investors. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew, and apologies to everybody for the slight technical hitch. They're not quite pressing the right buttons at the right time on this virtual platform that we're all getting used to using these strange and unusual times. And I hope everyone is keeping safe and well. And it's great to see so many investors in the audience. I think you get more than 5. Fabulous turnout and a great piece of work from Greenbackers to pull this together. Huge amount of entrepreneurial talent, and I know a lot of engagement happening there, which is great to see. And seeing so much energy around about the clean tech economy space is absolutely fabulous, because that chimes so much with Scottish Government values. You may be aware Scotland was one of the first countries to declare the global climate emergency, and we've really had a long-standing focus on making sure that we're at the forefront of implementing technologies moving towards net zero emissions. And we've got a net zero emission target in Scotland of 2045, which is 5 years earlier than the rest of the UK, and hard to make sure that we deliver on that. But what we do also recognise is that there's a real requirement for substantial investment to deliver on that agenda. And that can only happen by mobilising private finance. And that's something we recognise and work very, very hard on. And we're really committed to ensuring that Scotland is in a prime position to tap into that growing market for green investment opportunities. We've established a green finance project to explore innovative approaches to mobilising private finance into the net zero transition. We're working very closely on our climate change plan with businesses in Scotland, with our substantial, as you know, financial sector in Scotland, our world-class, world-leading university research base. And in Scotland, we pride ourselves in being connected and be able to pull all of those elements together very quickly to deliver on our ambitions in a coherent way, but also to smooth the journey for investors as well. And in part of that, we really are encouraging investment from around the world. There's a couple of highlights I want to talk to in terms of what is going on at the moment. The first of all is round about the Scottish National Investment Bank. The bank will be launched later this year. It will grow to have a 2 billion capitalisation. It's going to be a cornerstone of the Scottish economy, and its primary mission set by government is to support Scotland's transition to net zero. It's going to leverage in private investment, and it's going to support ambitious firms to flourish and to enable that transformational change to take place in Scotland. And it's going to maximise that impact by investing alongside other organisations wherever possible. So the message to investors on the event today is that the SNIB, the Scottish National Investment Bank, is a potential partner for you in the future. The second highlight I want to talk about is Scotland's green investment portfolio. So that sets out our low carbon initiatives that can deliver returns for investors who are helping Scotland to move to net zero. We've pulled together the first choice of projects into that portfolio, a whole range of projects, large and small, and they total more than 1 billion of investable opportunities. That was launched in September. It includes opportunities to invest in heating and hydrogen, an area that Scotland has considerable technological advantage, in battery storage, carbon capture, again an area that Scotland is leading the field, and green transport. And we're identifying further projects over the next 2 years for an additional 2 billion worth of investable opportunities, focusing on property, energy, and right across green tech. The green investment portfolio really demonstrates that Scotland is open for business, and we're intensifying our efforts to attract investment. And during this global pandemic, we work with private and sector to find creative solutions to building Scotland's net zero wellbeing economy of the future has never been more important. And we're trying to make engagement with the public sector for investors in Scotland as straightforward as possible. We've recently launched our Invest in Scotland app, so that gives you a map of Scotland at your fingertips. It highlights the investable opportunities. You can click on that, including the projects that are in our green investment portfolio, and you can see the tip of your fingertips, the key information, the type of project, the spend, the size of project, and all that information required. So that's really just to make that journey as easy as possible for investors that are looking at what Scotland has got to offer. A couple of pieces of work that one we've just finished and one we're about to start on, again, really talk to the importance of our focus on investment to move Scotland's economy forward. The first was the inward investment plan, focusing on FDI, that I launched a couple of weeks ago. And that sets out Scotland's ambition as a leading destination for inward investment, aligned very much with our core values as a nation around high-tech, digitisation, net zero, and building an inclusive wellbeing economy. It's important to recognise, you may not know this, Scotland has been the most successful part of the UK for each of the last 7 years consecutively in attracting inward investment outside of London. So it's something we're very proud of, and it's a success story we want to continue. But we're taking in the investment plan a much more strategic approach, looking at the sectors, the regions of Scotland and what they have to offer, and looking to maximise the wider economic benefits of that investment coming into Scotland, so that in partnership we can do better returns, not just for the economy and the people of Scotland, but for those investors that want to partner with us. We analysed a whole load of data around about Scotland's sectors and identified 9 subsectors where Scotland has real, genuine global competitive advantage built on our great university academic research and the clusters that we already have in place in Scotland, our skills and our natural assets. We identified those 9 sectors which also have increasing flows of capital, of inward investment happening across Europe, and Scotland's in an ideal position to attract investment in those areas. Net zero figured very largely in those sectors, as you can imagine, decarbonisation of transport, the energy transition, and the transformation of chemical industries very much at the core of that. So those sectors figure very, very, very highly in Scotland's focused approach to attracting and being even more successful in FDI and inward investment. The other piece of work that we're started to work on that will be coming out early next year is our capital investment plan. Again, looking at Scotland's strengths, what we have to offer to the capital investment markets, understanding those global capital flows and how we can plug into them and attract more capital investment into Scotland. Be that supporting business growth, be that supporting infrastructure, be that in commercial property and other innovative solutions in the green tech space. So we're very focused on that. That'll be coming out early in the next year, and again, really chiming with their values around about the journey to net zero, placemaking and supporting productivity growth across Scotland's businesses and economy. So an awful lot happening in Scotland on the investment front, hugely exciting and very focused, as I said, on our journey to net zero emissions by 2045. So just to wrap up, Andrew, thanks again for inviting me on today. I hope that everybody presenting today has the best of luck with their pitches. There are 3 Scottish companies pitching today. Farmhand from Edinburgh, RAB Microfluidics also from Edinburgh, and MacRebur down in Lockerbie, who I had the pleasure of visiting their site last year. So good luck to them. Good luck to everybody else that's taking part today. And I hope you have a fabulous session this afternoon. Thank you very much.
Mr. McKee, thank you very much indeed. Some really exciting times coming up with Scottish National Investment Bank, the Green Investment Portfolio, and of course with the COP26 coming to us. In what form, of course, we don't know yet with the pandemic. It's a really exciting time, and from personal experience I can certainly confirm that the accessibility and help available from Scottish Government and from its development agencies is really second to none. And I would encourage all investors and those with projects to engage, and indeed just quietly offer Greenbackers and my colleagues as a bit of a guide for that if it's of interest. Mr. McKee, thank you very much for joining us today and for your remarks.
Thank you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, what I would like to do now is just launch this poll that I mentioned earlier. So on the side of your screen, you will see a poll. I'll leave it up there for a little bit, and in a few slides' time, I will announce the results to that. Great to hear from you on those questions and engage with us. And of course, just a reminder to get the social media going. So we're not far away now from our first pitches. Just like to give you a little insight into how we've selected these companies. Of course, we're always looking for trends, and we see green hydrogen, we see connectivity, and we see digital twinning as very much the things that are happening now and that will happen in the future. Here, I'm really grateful to my colleague John Steedman, who put this information together from the data we have around this pitch. We were really delighted with the number and the quality of applications to pitch at our event today. Last time we had about 50, just above, nearly 60 companies. This time, 90 applied, more international than before. Some we consider to be outside the defined scope of clean tech, climate, and circular economy, which is what we concentrate on. But represents a significant increase over our event back in May this year, and continues the upward trend that we have experienced. We selected the 10 pitches today by independent assessment. Each of us, plus one of our associates, scored the companies, and we're pleased that the cohort covers a diverse range of products and services this time around, and in particular pleased that we have a very strong technology element. There's a few areas that caught our attention: waste, circular economy. A lot of entrepreneurs see the opportunity there to address increasing social and legislative challenge. Of course, cost is never far away from the mind, and this segment of the market is well represented by two of our pitching companies today, Argo Natural Resources and the plastic roads company from Lockerbie mentioned by the Minister just now, MacRebur. And a reminder that you can visit these companies in the virtual exhibition area, and there's a dedicated period of 45 minutes or so at the end of main stage activity to do so. Secondly, we're seeing an increasing number of technology solutions to environmental problems in ag tech and water, with the introduction, for example, of vertical farming and precision agriculture. And this afternoon we have Farmhand presenting from within this broadly defined sector. Another segment at the end of the chart, just a couple of number, but a first for us. There'll be more in the years ahead, since they represent the responsibility really of the individual in taking personal action, changing behaviour, mode of transport if they're aware of the impact, and making different buying choices. We see the UN Sustainable Goals as central to what we do. I'm sure many of you attending presentations and virtual events this summer have seen these slides. We certainly use them a lot, and they are core. And we have a number of companies today that are linked to some of those sectors. Just before I go back to the journey towards the first pitch, just an update on the poll. You can see here the results of that first poll. Very interesting. And one of the reasons that we have framed these questions is to better enable us to serve the marketplace, to serve you. We're really keen not to waste anybody's time as investors, to try and direct traffic that's of use, and to grow our line of services in line with what you need. Always happy to talk to you about that. There'll be one more poll coming up later on in the day, and that poll is going to be for our best pitch. More about that in due course. So after the event today, we'll send you a recording, links to all the presentations. Remember, you can ask questions at any time, and that we will capture all the questions. You can vote for the question you like best of all. I should mention that when the question session goes live, and John will select from those. And a reminder, please, and I will say this a couple of times during the event, to please complete that feedback form, which will be in your inbox. The new features we have today, you can go and visit the presenters, and also our excellent event sponsors, as well as our special guests, Vestemi and QBC, all of whom have booths in the virtual area. And indeed, you can meet myself and my colleagues in the virtual area as well. We have our own booth there, and I would just draw your attention to our emerging corporate video that's in there. You can spot which one of the team got particularly excited during the recording of the video. I'd urge you to go and watch that, and a grateful thanks for those who helped us put that together. There is a vote for pitch of the day, and I'll flash up that as a poll after the last pitch. What we're really looking for here is not necessarily a pitch that you are interested in investing in, although of course that's welcome. Rather more the quality of the pitch, what is said, and how you think everybody did. And here I'm grateful to my colleague Robert Hokin, who from his whiskey cave in the West End of Glasgow has donated a bottle of Scotland's finest malt, and we're very happy to present that to the winning pitch of the day. So here's a list of today's presenters. These are all in alphabetical order. That's how they'll be pitching with us today. So what I'd like to do now is get to pitching, get to the main business of the day. First, I'd like to introduce Leo from Argo Natural Resources, who has the dubious pleasure of being our first pitcher. Leo, you're very welcome. Great to see you here and leading off our day. So over to you, and good luck with the pitch.
Great. Thank you very much for the introduction. Just to make sure that this is actually working, just wanted to check that everybody can see the slide deck that I have in front of me.
Yes, I can confirm everything's fine.
Perfect, great. Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. My name is Leo Howden. I am the Managing Director of Argo Natural Resources, and I'm going to talk to you today about how we are enabling the low carbon metal production. So a bit about ourselves. Argo is a collaboration with the University of Leicester, who have spent 20 years working on a new approach to metals recovery using a revolutionary, environmentally friendly, chemistry-based technology. Argo is commercializing this technology to reduce the carbon footprint of metals extraction. So how are we utilizing this? Well, we're taking the knowledge that has been built up over the last 20 years and have developed a process that bypasses the traditional carbon-intensive routes of smelting and roasting, replacing the need for water, heat, and toxic chemicals. Crucially, our process can be integrated into existing industrial equipment, combining our revolutionary chemistry with conventional technology. So, how are we doing this? Well, as I said, we've created a new way to extract metals that is low impact, better, and more efficient, using readily available materials that are also available at scale. These deep eutectic solvents, or DES for short, are non-toxic salts that can be combined with reagents to recover metals directly from mined ore or electronic waste. So a bit about our team. Well, we've been working together for 3 years and have built a team that combines extensive commercial and industry expertise with world-leading research. So where are we on our journey? I've already mentioned that we are leveraging 20 years of world-leading research and development. We are past the proof of concept stage and are in the process of optimizing our technical flow sheet. We have multiple testing contracts with a FTSE 100 company to trial DES on both e-waste and mined ore, and are in active discussions with several of the world's largest mining companies. So what does our business model look like? Well, Argo has the long-term rights to commercialize DES mining and e-waste industries. The IP is held within Argo, and we will have ownership of the commercial process that we're developing. We are in active discussions with groups to take DES into the mining and e-waste industry, and we'll be partnering with these groups, taking royalties or a profit share. So what do the industries we are targeting look like? Argo is targeting 2 growing multi-billion-dollar industries, e-waste and mining, that are collectively worth over $500 billion annually. Our process will help our clients to improve metal recovery, increasing the total metal production while significantly lowering their environmental impact. Taking the e-waste market, where we will be partnering with original equipment manufacturers and recyclers, deploying our process has the potential to outperform current technology by 20%, improving recoveries from 75 to over 90%. Just 2% of the expected EU market would produce joint venture profits annually of $32 million. Using gold as one example of the many opportunities to deploy DES into the mining industry, deployment of DES into just 0.1% of the annual gold market, which represents one small gold mine, could produce annual income from royalties of $1 million. For a typical 10-year mine, that would be 10 million of total income. Scaling up to 2% market penetration, which would represent just one of the top 10 gold producers, and remember we're talking to several of the world's largest mining companies, could produce royalty income of $22 million annually. So where are we and what are we asking for? Well, we're looking to raise £2 million, which will provide 24 months of runway to finalize our flow sheet design so that we can move towards the deployment of DES in real-world applications. So in summary, at Argo, we are reimagining the world of metals extraction, redesigning the process to be better, cleaner, and simpler, so we can recycle and reuse the metal we need and reduce the environmental impact of metals extraction. Thank you for your time.
Leo, thank you very much indeed for your presentation. Excellent. And just a reminder as I draw my colleague John Steedman onto the stage, who will help us with the Q&A, just a reminder to everybody that the questions are live on the right of your screen, and also that the investors can go to the exhibition area and meet you and colleagues on your stand. John, would you like to join us on the stage and just pose one or two of the questions that have come in for Leo?
Thanks, Andrew, and thanks, Leo, for a great presentation and the first of our circular economy presentations today. First of all, quick question. What do you see as the round trip efficiency of your DES solvent, or in other words, how much percentage loss?
So the solvent can actually be recycled, 100% recycled. We're anticipating maybe a 5% loss overall during the kind of process, but the anticipation is that we'll be able to recover a significant amount of the reagent as we use it.
Okay, great. And question coming in from Pete Denny. Can you speak to what the carbon emission impact would be of this technology in terms of CO2 avoided?
Yeah, it's a very good question. We are doing a bit of research at the moment to really quantify that, but our initial expectations are that at least for the e-waste side, using the DES technology, we'll be looking at a kind of carbon impact of 20% of the current technology.
And a question from Bernie Balkan. At what scale and for which metals has this been proven?
So at the moment, everything is lab-based. As I said, we'll be using the funds to move through the testing program to.
Hi there. I think Leo just froze there for a second. Leo, hi, Leo.
Sorry.
Just apologies, you froze there for 1 second. You're live again now. Thanks.
No problem. I'll start again. So it's been used on a number of metals. So it works incredibly well on gold, copper, nickel. We've started testing it on platinum, palladium, rare earths. We're going to be looking at lithium next. So everything that we've looked at has a recoverability with DES so far.
Great, Leo. There's loads of other questions which you'll get to after the presentation.
Cool.
But thank you very much indeed. Great.
Great. Thank you.
Indeed, Leo, thanks very much. John, thanks very much for hosting the questions there. And again, just a further reminder that Leo and colleagues, you'll be able to see on his stand in the virtual conference area now, and more so at the end of the live stage event. John, thanks very much indeed.
Thank you.
So our next presenter who's due on stage with us is Rens Leesman. Rens is based in the USA and is talking from there today. Rens, love to have you join us on the stage and chat to us about your solution. So Rens, welcome, and over to you.
Great. Thanks, Andrew. Hi, as Andrew said, I'm Rens Leesman, CEO of CPower. Thanks to Greenbackers for the opportunity to speak with you today about the products that we're delivering to the market and how we help customers reduce costs and operational complexity and also avoid carbon emissions offshore. Our products provide offshore power and energy storage and real-time data and communications for the commercial, federal, and research markets. You can think of it as the combination of an EV charging station, a data center, and a cell tower, but out in the ocean. So why is this important? Well, it's important because the current operational model in the ocean, it has to change. It is people, carbon, and capital intensive, and this is not where our customers want to be. They want to operate in an environment where autonomous and connected and clean powered systems dominate. Entire industries in this $3 trillion market are transforming right before our eyes. And new technologies providing safer, cheaper, and easier operations are emerging. But fully implementing that innovation requires power, and the ocean is a power desert. To put a fine point on it, the problem is always getting the power in and the data out. And this is exactly the problem that we solve. We turn that power desert into an energized, data-enriched environment and provide what is needed to unlock this massive transformation. Our partners, like Saab, understand the importance of our technology. We uniquely serve the largest part of the offshore market, a gap between 10 watts and 10 megawatts that neither solar nor wind can satisfy. We have the watt-scale data array, mainly for research and navigation and data gathering applications. The kilowatt-scale C-ray that we'll discuss more in just a second, and the larger Stingray. The Stingray and the C-ray serve similar markets, enabling new and autonomous and connected hardware and services, but also can replace carbon-fueled power sources. An example is replacing a diesel genset in an offshore fish farm. That results in an operation that is cheaper, easier, and cleaner. Our autonomous offshore power system, or AOPS, it consists of an energy harvester, energy storage, and a data and communications hub. It's based on a design delivered for a U.S. Department of Defense project. It can be moored, as you see here, or drifting, deployed in shallow or deep water, shipped anywhere in the world in standard ocean containers, all unique capabilities to us. The AOPS, it is the missing piece of the puzzle for remote operation, command, and control of resident assets. As one of our partners told me, he said, look, it's always the ultimate goal to remove the need for the vessel. And this is exactly what our AOPS does. It's designed for a wide range of applications. The C-ray can support multiple payloads simultaneously on the surface, in the water column, or on the seafloor, vehicles, sensors, and operating equipment that can be left unmanned for weeks, months, even years at a time. No one else can do this. The whole goal of this transformation in the ocean economy is to reduce costs, reduce complexity, enable new hardware and services, and to decarbonize. We deliver all of the above. Just one C-ray can save a customer up to $100,000 a day and help them avoid producing about 25,000 tons of CO2 each year. That's about 7,000 cars worth with just one system, all the while enabling new, robust, and innovative capabilities. We have an extensive product commercialization pipeline. It's specifically geared to unlock large addressable markets. We've sold our first unit into a Navy R&D project and have a second unit getting ready to be deployed this winter. Our competitive advantage is set on multiple levels: IP protection, design approach, and team strength. We're superior in all the metrics that matter. For example, power to weight ratio. Weight is cost. So producing more power with less weight is important. Our competitor systems, they weigh 4 to 10 times what ours do and produce less power. Again, no one else can do what we can do. I've listed some of our significant accomplishments. We've covered a few already, but I want to point out we've also received 44 patents to date and have over $6 million in our product development grant pipeline. We're the global leader. Our extended team has been involved in dozens of startups, been top executives in Fortune 50 companies, and have developed over 2 gigawatts of wind and solar projects. We employ a highly capital efficient business model in which we bring funded development to our potential customers and distribution channel. We will then sell or lease to our partners who will in turn sell that integrated hardware and service package through to their customers. We brought in $38 million so far. 13 of that is private capital. The balance is non-dilutive grants. I think that really underscores the capital efficiency of our model. We're opening a Series C round now. This is a $6 to $8 million raise. With the funds, we get 3 products into the market, we achieve repeatable sales, and we deliver profitability in late 2022. We have also received EIS Advanced Assurance. We foresee multiple exit paths, including strategic sale of the whole company or potentially specific product lines. So with that, I'm going to close. I'd love to meet you at the C-Power stand. Thank you very much for your time.
So close to commercialization. Thanks for this presentation. I would encourage interested parties to obviously go to the stand. What I'd like to do now is bring John back into the main stage to put some of those.
Hi, Rens. Great to see you again.
Hey, John.
Hi. Quick question to start with again. When will the C-ray power system be available for sale in the market?
You think the short answer to that is right now. As I mentioned, we've delivered 100 watt, or we are delivering a 100-watt system to the U.S. Navy in December, and we've got our second system going in the water off the coast of Hawaii in a U.S. DOE and U.S. Navy supported project. That'll happen in January or February. So we're ready to go now. We're ready to deliver now.
Superb. Question from Indranil Ghosh. How much capital is deployed into a typical ocean project?
Yeah, so I think what's important is to think about the markets that we're attacking now. So we're selling kit into our distribution channel. So a system may cost between $350 to $1 million. This is not a significant grid-connected development project. We are out in the ocean with a remote system that we're wired directly into those payloads. So I think it's a little less about maybe the older way to think about wave energy with project development and more about actually making people's kit and services better. It's a little bit like the old BASF tagline. We don't make the things you buy, we just make them better.
Okay, and finally, a short answer, please. Rans,
yeah.
What is the total addressable market for CPower? That's come from Romain Kia.
Yes, so by 2025, we have about $8 billion worth of addressable market. And that's as we go through our product releases. Happy to discuss that more in the virtual stand.
Great, well, I hope Romain joins you there. Thanks a lot, Rans.
Thank you. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Rance. Thank you, John. Very much indeed. Head over to the stand if you want some more details. So moving right on, and we are coming at you pretty thick and pretty fast today. We make no apology for that. We want to hold your attention. What I'd like to do now is introduce to you Abby from Farmhand Precision to his precision crop irrigation proposal. Abby, it'd be great to have you on the stage, and welcome to the main stage now, and I'd love to hear your presentation. Over to you.
Thank you very much. Just want to confirm that my slide is visible and I'm audible.
Indeed it is, and you're on the main stage in full glory, Abby. Please go ahead.
There are over 550 million small to medium holder farmers globally that produce over 90% of our food, and nearly all of them are underserved by the market and the government due to a lack of data. Now, this leads to low farm productivity and a strain on our world's natural resources. I'm Abhi Bhargava, CEO and co-founder of Farmhand, where we're bringing data-driven solutions to agri-ecosystems globally. So Farmhand works at the energy, water, food nexus, where growing consumption coupled with climate risk are increasing energy and water needs in a vicious cycle that is leading to higher emissions and increasing water scarcity. Boosting agriculture sustainability must, however, boost agricultural productivity in parallel, as many of the small medium holder farmers are in economic distress right now. So let's look at an example. Imagine Ram and Sita. Ram and Sita have 4 children and are growing sugarcane on 5 acres of land in Tamil Nadu in South India for their aggregator EID Perry. Now, irrigation mismanagement coupled with soil degradation and other on-farm risks reduces farm productivity. Now, EID Perry, who's their aggregator, looks to support their farmer, but lacks data, and due to the high costs of data collection, means that they're unable to assist at the right way or at the right time. They have an underutilized processing plant and are unable to link the farmers to the right solutions for their farm. With unsustainable income, debt, and increasing worry about the local water supply, Ram and Sita are considering moving away from farming and going to the city. This is the reality for millions. So Farmhand provides right time, right volume, precision irrigation, and ecosystem connectivity for the farmer. It provides unprecedented data analytics to the aggregator and opens up new markets for the agri-ecosystem players. So we use a free user interface for the farmer and aggregator, and we collect farm-level data, and we couple that with remote sensed and public data. We then provide software and advice and analytics to the farmer and aggregator, and also provide our Internet of Things automatic irrigation system for irrigation control. The aggregator is then linked with insights customized for their specific farm, their supply chain geography. And their farmer and the aggregator are both linked with agri-input suppliers that can provide useful products. So what does this mean for Ram and Sita? Well, efficient irrigation leads to a 30% increase in yield with a 60% reduction in energy and water consumption and a 40% reduction in labor. The aggregator, EID Perry, whose farmhand's client, gets customized alerts that advise on specific farms situations. The one-off upfront cost is paid and split between the aggregator and the farmer, and they both pay a software fee annually. Now, if we only look at the value created for the farmer through the yield increase, we estimate that over the 10-year product lifespan, we're increasing profits up to 2 times their current annual profit. So where are we now? So farmhand, we've deployed automatic irrigation systems on 40 farms, and we have 160 more in the pipeline for next year. We have interest from over 14 aggregators that have over 60 million affiliated farmers, providing significant pathways to scale. Organizations include IFCO, who's the largest fertilizer company in India, and Lorenz, who are a market-leading solar pumping company. Now, our target market is characterized by the Internet of Things and satellite insights for agriculture. We've specifically looked at aggregator-affiliated farmers that are growing 9 key crops that we've identified as early adopter crops for our technology. In 2025, we expect our total available market to grow to 80 billion pounds. Our team is split between strategy and development happening in Scotland and a regional operations team in South India. We have myself, who's a development economist, and I love to get my hands dirty on the field and engage in field work. We have Andrew, who's the irrigation specialist, and we have David, our CTO, who's a controls and optimization expert, who has led IoT deployments in blue chips as well as startups. We also have Gurmeet, who's leading operations in India, who's been an ex-senior VP in agri-tech companies and has led operations teams of over 25 people. So currently, we are aiming to reach over 2 million farmers by 2026 through hardware and software sales. Our sales in the early years will be hardware focused as we gather data from the field, and then our revenue will start to scale through software sales. We look to break even in 2024 and have a revenue of 50 million pounds by 2026. So we're seeking 1.25 million pounds of funding at a 3.25 million pre-money valuation to help fulfill our sales orders that we have with existing clients, but also extend our data analytics products to the wider agri ecosystem. It is clear that with increased mobile phone usage and connectivity in the poorest of areas, alongside widening inequality and resource concerns, precision agriculture is not only possible, but absolutely necessary right now. Farmhand's extremely excited to get to speak to you, and hopefully we meet at the virtual stand, and we look to work together.
Abby,
thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Abby. That was a great presentation and fascinating to hear how you're using all of these solutions to solve and address what is a really, really difficult problem. What I'd like to do now is introduce John onto the main stage. He's been curating the questions for you, and John, if you can join me and put the questions to Abby, that'd be great.
Hi, Abby. Thanks very much for representing the ag tech and precision farming sector with Farmhand today. Questions coming in all the time. Huge interest in what you've been saying. Question from John Seal. Who are your main competitors that are already doing this?
Yeah, so that's a great question. So we can look at other Internet of Things controller companies out there, as well as satellite data analytics companies as our competitors. However, we are approaching the market quite differently to them. So the satellite companies are looking at larger farms. They're looking at 100-acre plus to look at what insights can be derived from satellite, and IoT systems out there are largely using soil moisture sensors to detect when irrigation is needed for the farm. Now, there's two problems with both of those approaches. One, the satellite approach does not work for the small to medium holder farmer between 1 to 20 acres, because you cannot get enough precision from satellites at that level at this stage without having in situ data. Now, the second point for IoT irrigation controllers is they're using soil moisture sensors in a very sensor-led approach. And this, again, does not work in the microclimates that we deal with and the topography, because there's so much variability in even 5 acres, and the cost of the soil moisture sensors and the technical complexity is not viable for the farmers. So we use AI, machine learning, big data to make sure that we're getting as much information we can from the farm, from satellites, from our IoT system, to create a low-cost solution that works throughout the value chain at the cost that is affordable for the farmer and the aggregators.
Okay, thank you. Just time for one more quick question from Corchide Kritasorn. From farmer perspective, what's the payback period for your customers?
Yeah. Okay. So let's take the example of a sugarcane farmer, the 5-acre sugarcane farmer. This is a quintessential farmer customer type that we're dealing with. With the hardware, you're able to pay back the hardware within 1 crop cycle, which is 1 year for a sugarcane farmer. For tomato farmers, it may be 2 crop cycles, but they have a 4-month crop cycle. So you're talking about 8 months repayment period. Now, there's an annual software cost for the app as well as the analytics for the aggregator, and that we have planned out, and that will also be paid back in another crop cycle henceforward. So the 10-year cost is essentially paid back in a year to 2 years, really, depending on the crop.
Thank you very much, Avi, for your presentation. Excellent.
Thank you so much.
Very grateful, and please, everybody, remember you can head over to the stand to get some more information from Abby and indeed all of our presenters. Next, what I'd like to do is join Toby McCartney from MacRebur, mentioned by Minister McKee at the start of the event, and I too have visited Toby's premises down in Lockerbie. A fantastic Scottish company, a great story, and Toby is really great at telling it. So, Toby, with that kind of build-up, you can only do well. Over to you, Toby.
No pressure at all. Thank you. Well, hi, I'm Toby McCartney. I'm the CEO and co-founder for MacRebur, the plastic road company. Now, at MacRebur, we make roads, but they're not just any old roads. We use waste plastics that are destined for landfill or for incineration to replace the fossil fuel bitumen, that's the black oil in an asphalt or a road mix, to enhance those roads and reduce the deformation of our roads networks around the world. Now, we're a team of 16 people. Most of us are based in Lockerbie in Scotland, but we also have people in Tampa, Florida, South Africa, and New Zealand. And over the past 4 years, we've spread our brand across the globe. We're the winners of Sir Richard Branson's Virgin Voom competition, which we won in 2016, as well as our most recent European business in Poland. Now, MacRebur has 3 co-founders, and that's the reason that we're called MacRebur. My surname is McCartney, my engineering business partner is Gordon Reed, and my legals and admin partner is Nick Burnett. So we have a Mac, we have a Re, and we have a Bur. Now, together, we've formed a new way of recycling, and we're working on becoming a standard in the roads construction across the world. By using waste plastics as an additive to replace bitumen in roads, we reduce carbon emissions. We reduce fossil fuel dependency by replacing...
Toby, I'm sorry to interrupt your flow, Toby. At the moment, we can see you and hear you fine, but we're not seeing your slides. I don't know if you can share those right now. I'm sorry to be interrupting you. I know it's always a little difficult.
That's all right. It's I can see my slides on my screen. Do you want me to?
I don't know if are you on a full screen?
Yeah,
if you can come out of that and you should then be able to see the share screen at the bottom of your laptop.
It says stop. It says stop share. Should I?
Yeah, if you hit that, it might help. I don't know. Otherwise, what I would suggest is you carry on with the pitch and talk to the slides, and then we'll invite people to go to the stand and see them. I'm sorry about that technical problem, Toby.
That's okay. Can you see my screen now?
No, we can't. Toby, I'm sorry. What I suggest you do is speak to the deck, knowing that it's we can't see it, unfortunately, and I do apologise for that. And then we'll ask people who are interested to go over to your stand. Okay.
All right, no problem. Well, we'll
thanks, Toby.
We'll go back a bit, will we? Let's just see if I go back a couple of slides. So I was talking about MacRebur having 3 co-founders, and then some of the advantages of us by using waste plastics as an additive in roads. What we do is we reduce carbon emissions, we reduce fossil fuel dependency by replacing the black oil with waste plastics. We recycle previously non-recyclable plastics, and we help to build local circular economies everywhere that we set up our manufacturing plants. So a recent independent study revealed that we save 11.32 kilograms of carbon emissions per ton of asphalt produced. Out of interest, that's the same weight as a baby polar bear. And the reason I have that stat in there is my daughters absolutely love it. 24 months ago, we hit a challenge, and that challenge was that we were gaining more work abroad than we have in the UK. And this meant that we were shipping our UK waste plastic products around the world, which wasn't great, to be honest. And so to overcome this, we redesigned our manufacturing plant. We now sell our plants some intellectual property and the rights to manufacture MacRebur products into local areas around the world. The slide that you should have been able to see shows where we have those plants and what that plant looks like. But these slides are all available in the virtual space that we have here. So we source local plastics, local waste plastics. We process them, we mix them in with our patented additives, and then we sell them on into the asphalt market. So we built our business really in the asphalt additives world, which is expected, just out of interest, to reach $5.3 billion by 2027. I believe it's increasing by 5% every year, despite COVID. So we've set up 3 plants in the last 18 months. We own our own MacRebur plant and site in Lockerbie in Scotland. And we've now got 2 working models that we've sold to partners in San Diego and San Francisco in California. We like the hot areas. We formed partnerships with companies who sell our products in various parts of the world with roads built, testing complete, and potential licensee sales in, I think there's about 30 green circled areas that you would see on the slide, which is on our decks that you can download. So we put in the groundwork. We're now ready to massively scale up around the world. And we've learned a great deal from the 3 plants that we've established to date. And now we have a model that we know works. So we've set our outcome on establishing 15 new MLA MacRebur-owned sites, as well as 150 lease plant deals in strategic sites across the world over the next 5 years. Now, to do this, we're looking for a £3 million investment, or £1 million per year for the next 3 years. This would give us enough money to build new manufacturing plants, to take on the much needed staff to help and support us. And we want to invest in developing our products further to meet the various challenging standards that we have across the world, and to scale up our business worldwide so that we become the name for the waste plastic road technology. The market is absolutely huge, and it's important to us that we are first to that market so that we can capitalize on our already expanding potential. By October 2021, we're forecast to make £10.9 million in revenue, which is up by £9 million since October this year. We've pre-orders in place, and in fact, factories waiting to be installed as soon as we can move our engineers around the world again post-COVID. We're looking for you to invest in our innovation and be part of our legacy to help end the world's plastic epidemic and at the same time enhance the roads that we drive on today. Thank you so much for your time, and I'd love to take any questions from you.
Toby, thank you very much. Cool under pressure there. Apologies again for the technical hitch with your deck. You inadvertently gave our audience a little rest from the PowerPoints. A great opportunity for somebody interested in supporting a company with global growth ambitions. It sounds good to me. John, my colleague John Steedman, I'd like to bring you onto the main stage now and just pose one or two questions for Toby. John, please join me on the main stage.
Hey, John.
Hi, Toby. Just fantastic to hear the progress that you've made in the last 2 years. Superb.
Thank you. I wish you'd been able to see it as well.
Yeah, well, everyone's rushing to the exhibition centre now to get your slides. Great questions coming in. I'll just try and relay a couple to you. Firstly, is there a plastic specification that you need to use in your product? From Dave Cleft.
A plastic specification, yeah. We have a high-end quality control procedure that all of our plastics has to come through. It's not just a case of choosing any old plastics and throwing it into the mix. We source our plastics from various places. They go through a high-end quality control procedure. We make sure that we've got just the right plastics, just the right amount and the right quality of those plastics. And then they go in and they're tested alongside the asphalt and the bitumen that they go in to partly replace or extend. And so the bitumen is then tested and the asphalt at the end of it's tested too. And there's various standards across the world that we have to meet. There's the BSEN standards in Europe and the UK. And then we've got other standards out in the States and South Africa and all the other places that we have our manufacturing plants in. We tend to find with regards to plastic quality, we're registered with SEPA, so we have a waste license through SEPA. But elsewhere in the world, there isn't the sort of quality control from the recyclers, if we can find recyclers around the world, like there is in the UK. So we meet the UK's or SEPA's quality control that they demand upon us, and that tends to span out across the rest of the world.
And second question, it's a popular question. Is there any risk of microplastic pollution? That's coming from Simon Parrish and John Seal. It's a popular question.
It's a question that we always get, and thank you for asking us the question. It's the short answer is no. There are no microplastics released in the end result of the asphalt. The plastics that we choose all homogenize into the mix. So they form a homogeneous mix with the bitumen and then the aggregates that are added into an asphalt mix. So it's not like, I think because we call ourselves a plastic road company, a lot of the time people think that they're going to see, bottle tops and bags sticking out of the road. It doesn't quite work like that. There is a lot of science and engineering that goes behind it. And the plastics go into the bitumen to form a homogeneous mix, basically a better glue that performs better in the end result of the asphalt. So there's no microplastics present.
Superb. Thanks very much, Toby, for your presentation, and apologies for the glitch, but I'm sure everyone will pick these slides up at the exhibition.
They can download them from our site as well. So yeah.
Excellent, John. Thanks very much, Toby. Again, thanks very much. We sent an alert out to all of our attendees to go and see the deck on your stand. What I'd like to do now is introduce to you Paul Vosper from JuiceBar to present on their excellent solution. Paul, please join me on the main stage.
Can you see my slides?
I can't see your slides at the moment. No, I can see you, but I can't see your deck at the moment, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I've got it up and running on my desktop, but I don't know why it's not showing. So we'll do the same thing. I'll walk you through it.
Okay, well, thanks. And just to say, everybody, you'll be able to get over to Paul's stand at JuiceBar and see the deck there. Apologies, the deck's not coming through at the moment. Paul, over to you.
Sure, thank you. So my name is Paul Vosper. I'm the CEO of JuiceBar. We are a US-based manufacturer of EV charging, electric vehicle charging equipment. By way of background, I spent 25 years in the real estate industry. That is our largest customer base. And in that 25 years, I spent 14 years at Morgan Stanley building, growing, and leading a number of real estate investment funds. When my partner and I first took a look at buying JuiceBar, we came away with three conclusions. First, that we are at the cusp of a major transition to the electric vehicle market, which is going to require a massive infrastructure investment. That investment is being supported by the automakers, the utility industries, as well as positive government policy, particularly in the US at the state level, as well as private investment capital. So that was our first finding. The second finding was that our competitors are really not ready for mass adoption. The hardware quality is poor, the user experience is difficult, customer service in general is terrible, and they all use a proprietary locked-in smart charging solution. The third aspect that we discovered was that the largest addressable market is not the highway fast charging market, but it's the level 2 market, the chargers where you live, where you work, where you shop and play, and the fleet market. And so that's the market that we focus on. When we first bought JuiceBar, we implemented a two-phase plan. The first was to invest in technology. So we brought in a chief engineer from Tesla, from the infrastructure side. We gave him a white sheet of paper to go out and build us the best charger in the market. And as a result of that, we now have the fastest, safest, and a very cost competitive product, both in terms of the upfront cost and the ongoing cost. We also brought in a number of technologies, including to integrate into other technologies such as energy management and building management systems. And most importantly, we are an open architecture system. So we can host any smart charger network on our equipment, which is unique in the market. The second thing we did was to expand the team. As I mentioned, we recruited David from Tesla. We also brought in a sales team from one of our leading competitors, brought in customer service, as well as a very experienced marketing director. So the core team is in place, but we're not finished yet. We are looking to expand in the engineering, customer service, and sales functions over the course of 2021, and expect to triple the team size over that time. Unfortunately, we don't have the slide showing the customer validation, but we've had, as a result of both the tailwinds in the market, the new sales team that we've brought on board, and the success of the Gen 3 itself, we have been able to really succeed against our competitors. We're winning competitive transactions. We recently got a 500-unit order from one of the global automakers. And most importantly, our sales are up 680% first half of the year versus first half of last year. And we're on track.
Sorry to interrupt you, Paul, but we do have your slides on the main stage now. We can see the slide for transition to EVs being underway currently.
Okay, so if you could move to slide 9. I don't know who's controlling.
We're doing that now.
Okay. There you go. So there you have a selection of the customers that we're working with. As I said, one of our most recent successes is that we won an order for 500 units from one of the global US-based automakers. Next slide, if you don't mind. We're a capital light business. What I mean by that is we don't own the equipment, so we're not subject to utilization rates or energy cost rates. We sell and lease chargers to our customers. We generate a recurring revenue stream through both the monthly network fees, but also through management and maintenance contracts. We are also a post-revenue company, so we're projecting revenues of $5 million this year, which will result in a neutral EBITDA for us. For next year, we're projecting $25 million, which unique in the industry will result in about a $3.2 million EBITDA profit. By way of comparison, those revenues are very similar to one of the listed charging companies, Blink. That has a market cap of 300 million with TTM revenue of 4.3 million and a loss of 11.5. ChargePoint, which is our leading competitor, generated $143 million of revenue this year against a loss of 133, and just announced a SPAC transaction with a pre-money valuation of 2.4 billion. We are launching a $50 million Series A round. That is mainly focused on expanding our product leadership. So with the Gen 3, we've created a significant leadership in the market. We will be scaling up manufacturing, and we have a COGS reduction plan to reduce COGS by 30%. We'll also be selectively expanding internationally. We're already in Canada. We're about to put our first installation into Mexico, and we're signing an agreement with a large UK real estate company, and are in the process of negotiating a similar agreement in Asia. So with that, I'll pause and see if we have any questions.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you very much indeed, Paul. Apologies again for the technical itch on the slides. Obviously available over on your stand, and I'm sure you're happy to speak to other investors. What I'd like to do now, Paul, is bring my colleague John Steedman onto the main stage, just to give you one or two of the many questions that are currently coming in for you. John, join me on the stage, please.
Hi, Paul. Thanks very much.
You're welcome.
Much needed EV infrastructure for sure. Question from David McGrath. Are you doing anything in EU or the UK?
Yeah, so we, as I mentioned at the back end of the presentation, we're signing an agreement with one of the UK's largest real estate companies to do a joint venture to launch charging in the UK. We've had discussions in places such as Germany and Austria as well. And then the other main area that we're seeing interest is in the Asian markets.
Great. And from Adve Maniar, how's your business model different, less or more scalable than your competitor ChargePoint?
Well, I think the main difference is we see ourselves primarily as an infrastructure company that uses our hardware to host technology. ChargePoint sees themselves as a technology company and hardware as an afterthought, which has resulted in their hardware is now probably 4 or 5 years old, is quite ancient in EV terms. They use a locked-in proprietary system. So when you buy their charger, if you're unhappy with ChargePoint or the service they provide, your only choice is to rip out the hardware and start again. We are using the European open protocol system, which allows us to host any network on our charger. So a customer, to the extent they're dissatisfied with us, are able to change networks without having to lose the hardware. That has been, it's a very sticky business. It's sort of like changing your bank account. It's not, it's easy in theory, difficult in practice. But when we go in front of a customer, particularly a Class A building owner, the thought of locking themselves into a 5-year contract with ChargePoint versus an open protocol system like ours wins the day. And it's the prevailing system in Europe. There are very few proprietary systems in the European market.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much, Paul. Much appreciated.
Indeed, Paul, thank you very much indeed, and thanks for coping with the technical hitch there. Just for our audience, the AV team in the background working hard, and we have a workaround if there are any other issues with slides. Our presenters will not be driving their own decks if they're having an issue, and we will have the AV team drive those. Our presenters will just ask them to do that. But bear in mind, you can see all of the decks and meet all of the presenters in their virtual booths now, and later on towards the end of the main stage activity in the dedicated time we've set aside for that purpose. And I may say, whilst officially that is set to run till 5:30, in fact, you can use that area for a fair length of time this evening. If you get into discussions, please feel free to use that area. Okay, without further ado, what I'd like to introduce onto the main stage now is Rotimi from RAB Microfluidics to take us through his presentation. Rotimi, welcome onto the main stage. It's really good to see you, and really looking forward to your presentation. So over to you, Rotimi.
Thank you very much. My name is Dr. Rotimi Alabi. I am the founder and managing director of RAB Microfluidics. I want you all to imagine you spend £10 million on a machine, a beverage processing plant, for example. If you do, you'll want to know that this machine is running well and is running efficiently. But more importantly, you want to know when this machine will break down, so you can plan maintenance. At the moment, there is no easy way for you to find out when this machine will break down. It is an expensive lottery. One way to find out when this machine will break down is to take a sample of oil that lubricates this machinery to a commercial laboratory to get crucial machine health information, usually at a huge monetary expense and the risk that the machine will break down before the results come back. Industrial businesses lost £2.1 billion last year alone on uninsurable downtimes and breakdowns due to this inefficient process, in addition to spending £2 billion to diagnose machine failure early. Having identified these pain points and the huge unmet needs, we have developed a solution. Yes, we have compacted the entirety of a commercial laboratory into this slim, elegant device. We call it a lab on a chip. This device will tell you when your machine will develop a fault, and early too, so you can plan maintenance. The benefits are instantaneous. For a company like Maersk Shipping, we will save £2 million annually on sampling costs alone. The main benefits are automation and digitization of oil analysis, real-time measurement for any diagnosis of machine failure, loop oil data trending, predictive analytics, and predictive maintenance. While the application of this technology spreads across industries, such as oil and gas exploration and production, our first-tier target markets are original equipment manufacturers and the maritime industry. By leasing our online devices directly to shipping vessel operators and OEMs, we will generate a revenue of over £400,000 in the first full year of commercialization and scale this up to £9 million by year 5 from just one customer, Maersk Shipping, with potential to generate significantly higher revenues when we have penetrated other customer segments. This business model, where we will lease our hardware device for £4,000 annually and offer subscription for our predictive maintenance service, will enable us export to global markets. We have built a passionate and driven team, supported by 3 non-executive directors and a core team with over 150 years worth of experience and expertise in the knowledge that underpins this technology, business startup, and commercialization to achieve our sales targets. There is no doubt we'll face competition from mobile equipment vendors such as Pekin Elmer and commercial laboratories like Intertech. But we have a superior proprietary and patented technology that allows us to monitor the health condition of a machine 1,000 times faster and 10 times cheaper than commercial laboratories or existing oil condition monitoring techniques. RAB Microfluidics has been in existence for 4 years, and in that time we have achieved significant milestones. We have raised over £1.7 million of funding in grants, competition wins, private investment, and customer revenue. This funding has allowed us to develop a prototype device that completely automates the process of laboratory oil analysis. This first of its kind technology presents a game changer in the business models of companies such as Caterpillar and Repsol. So much so that Repsol have paid RAB Microfluidics £90,000 to be the first to have our prototype for pilot testing. Repsol have committed another £30,000 to be paid at the end of the pilot testing. And I'm delighted to announce that we have started pilot testing with Repsol. Other companies like Caterpillar, Chrysler, Notlink Ferries, and Ineos have also committed to paid pilots with a further £30,000 to be paid by these companies. We are currently completing a £1 million seed investment to develop a production product, manufacture this product, and go to market with the first version of this product in the fourth quarter of 2021. However, we are now seeking to establish new relationships for our next round, where we will seek £2 million to scale our business globally. The most likely route of exit for our investors will be a trade sale to a customer like the lubricant manufacturer Repsol or the OEM Caterpillar, with potential for multiple exits through a group structure to maximize return on investment for our investors. Our ambition as a company is to develop smarter sensor technologies and have these technologies on every new and existing heavy machinery in the world. This way, we can guarantee equipment reliability and a predictive maintenance feature. And I strongly believe that you can help us achieve this. Thank you.
Rotimi, Lab on a Chip very neatly sums up your business. You're piloting with equipment manufacturers and operators. Did you consider the alternative route of existing oil condition monitoring service companies?
Yes. So the current profile of customer targets that we have looked at, the retrofit market, there's a large retrofit market, and there's original equipment manufacturers, and we're targeting those two markets. With service providers that potentially service industries like the wind sector, we have targeted them, but we are not currently pilot testing with them.
Could you explain a little bit more about the pilot trial? And that's from Beverly Gower-Jones.
Thank you for the question, Beverly. The pilot trial we're having with Repsol currently, they have a device with them and they're currently testing it with a number of lubricating oils within their facility. And we have had promising results from that. So that is encouraging for us. We are looking to commence pilot testing with Ineos and Notlink Ferries within the next 2 weeks.
And then briefly from Mark Redshaw, he's asking, what properties of the oil and lubes are you monitoring?
Thank you, Mark, for the question. We're looking at 6 main components that will tell the end user about 3 failure modes: degradation of the oil, contamination of the oil, and wear of the oil. And those 6 components are metals, acid number, base number, water contamination, insoluble content, and viscosity.
Great. Thanks very much for your answers, Rotimi, to the questions. Thanks a lot.
I just want to confirm that you were able to see my slides while I was presenting.
Yes, indeed we were, Rotimi. No problem at all.
Yes, we were.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, Rotimi, and just encourage investors to head on over to your stand as and when it's ready. So just before I go on with our next slide, just to give you a little pause to take breath, a couple of reminders for you. First of all, please be taking some notes for your pitch of the day vote. We'll be putting up a poll for that after the last pitch in a few minutes. And just a reminder that we're looking for the pitch itself, not necessarily just the whether it's one that you actually want to invest in, but just the way the pitch was handled. And there's a prize that we have prized from Robert Hokin, my colleague Robert Hokin's Whiskey Cave, as I said earlier. And for those of you who will see the slide about that a bit later on, there's some tasting notes adjacent to that. And also a reminder, please, to complete the feedback form that's in your inbox just now. It really does help us target our follow-up after this event, and it makes sure we only come back to you in respect of matters that are of interest to you. And final reminder, just before I bring Peter in, a final reminder that we do have the exhibition area where not only can you meet all of today's presenters, but you can also meet our excellent event partners. There are some excellent videos there, and even when the stand is perhaps not manned, if the presenter is actually on stage, there's some great material that you can go and see. And just to underline that you're able to have a one-on-one video chat from that platform. So we're hoping it's a really useful addition to the event, and look forward to hearing your feedback on that through that really important feedback form. One other thing I'd just like to talk about a little at this stage is the poll that we launched earlier. The responses. So first question, in terms of what is your biggest investment challenge currently? Sharing with you the results of that, and just over a third of you were saying that finding quality opportunities in the seed, Series A or B climate or clean tech, that is your biggest investment challenge right now. Interesting for us, and I think something that we do see from the marketplace. Of course, what we would like to do for that marketplace is act as a signpost and make sure we can help you find those opportunities. And one of the things I would say is please feel free at any time to get in touch with us, perhaps visit our stand later on. If you are interested in particular themes, what we are very happy to do is chat to you, really understand those themes and understand the scope of what you want to get involved in, and then help you satisfy those themes. So please bear that in mind, and we're really happy to help in any way we can. Anyway, given that short rest from the presentations, what I'd like to do now is introduce to you onto the main stage Racanaa Energy and Peter Brown. Peter, I'd love you to join me on the main stage now and take us through the offering from Racanaa Energy. Peter, welcome to the main stage. Good to see you. And over to you to talk to us about Racanaa.
Okay, can I just confirm everyone can see me and they can see the presentation?
We're seeing you, currently not seeing the presentation, but bear with me, and I think some colleagues in the background are going to try and get that up through the AV if they can.
Okay, I'll crack on and then we can catch up, I guess. So
okay.
My name's Peter Brown. Thanks for listening to me. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Racanaa Energy. We're a energy management business whose founders have a long history in energy and how that works. So across the world, and in India in particular, there's huge energy problems. People can't see how they're using energy. You can't see how much they're wasting. They can't measure it properly. And worse still, if you're off grid, you don't know what you're using on your diesel genset, which is a massive cost issue and an emissions issue. So what we've developed at Racanaa is a system which is hardware and software based that can manage both the input of energy, so the supply of energy, and how equipment in an office space or a commercial business is actually consuming that energy. In India alone, the potential for the market is for our solution to be supplied to over 4 million units. Our target customers are banks, retailers, fast food restaurants, cloud kitchens, shared living spaces, amongst many, many others. We also have channel partners in place who are actually dealing with markets such as agriculture and refrigeration, where it's a very dispersed market and customers. Customers are currently engaged, and we have scope to order in excess of 30,000 of our units. We've had equipment on POC for over a year previously. All technical hurdles have been overcome, and we're now on to pilot schemes whereby what we're testing is our ability to scale up the business. So our system is a mixture of hardware and software. The hardware sits next to the distribution board in an organization and basically takes the readings from the energy that's supplied, and we can distinguish between the grid, a solar panel, battery, diesel genset, whatever that power supply is. And then we're hardwired into the circuits of that facility, and we can monitor, measure, and control what energy is used by what piece of equipment. Our value proposition is really around embedding the customer's standard operating procedures, so that across very many geographies, a customer will know that they have standardized processes. And what that does is it really decreases the energy bill by 20 to 30%, and we've proven that in all of the 19 sites that we're currently operating on. Reports have been submitted to the customers, and they have all signed off on those savings. Provides a payback to our customers if they buy our capital equipment of less than 2 years. Doesn't interfere with existing processes. It automates energy management, and the data is stored in the cloud, and you have immediate access through dashboards, which you can get on your mobile phone or on your computer or wherever you are. The team, as I said, we have a long background in energy and energy management. Quite a diverse group of people. We've worked together, the 4 founders of the business, since 2013 in another organization, which was controlling energy on more than 26,500 different sites across India. We also have some really good advisory board members in India of some very high-powered individuals. Our sales activity is really growing, and despite the coronavirus pandemic, we've managed to onboard a significant number of customers between July and now. Those on the right are now augmented with IndusInd Bank, Burger King, and Aditya Birla, who are a fashion company with over 1,000 sites. We also have a unit that's been deployed in Bangladesh. It was actually installed and commissioned remotely. It took just a couple of hours with an alliance, Econic Technologies, and we've just signed the agreements with them today. Our market offering is relatively simple, and we can be flexible for whatever the customer wants. So we can sell our equipment, and we can install it, and then we can provide a service whereby we do the energy management reporting, and we, through our algorithms, change the way that people actually consume their energy. Or we can sell energy as a service. And when we say energy as a service, we mean that we go in, on day one, we start saving money for the customer. They have zero capital expense and zero expense out of the door. And we basically get into a risk and reward sharing agreement with them, where we get paid a fixed fee and then a proportion of whatever savings that we can show. As I said earlier, we've got in our sales pipeline over 30,000 sites with the customers that we're dealing with today. Other customers that we're active with would take us to well over 100,000 in the pipeline. Clearly, we're not going to sign all 100,000 sites up, but you can see that in 21-22, our total number that we expect to be deployed is around about 10,000 units. That would give us an EBITDA in 21-22 of £6,825,000. So what we're using the money for that we're raising, which is between 750,000 and £1 million, is basically to ramp up the production of the units for deployment at scale, expansion of our sales and marketing activities, continuing product and software development, and establishment of a service support network and network operations center. We've also got some interesting new ideas on what would be next for our product and the development program that we would put in place. It says on the slide, EIS Advanced Assurance received for UK investors. We're actually a step ahead of that now, so we are EIS certified. So far, we've raised 1.4 million, and that was with the founders of the company and on friends and family basis. But clearly, as we grow and as we get into long-term contracts with customers, asset-backed debt financing will be available at a later stage to really get us growing even faster. So with that, I'll close and open up for questions.
Peter, thank you very much indeed. I know you were hoping to be joined on stage for the question and answer session by Bill. We have a little difficulty in getting him on right now, but what I'd like to do is get my colleague John Steedman on, who has been curating the questions as they've been flowing in, and he'll put one or two of those to you now. John, please join me on the main stage.
Hi, Peter. Good to see the demand side being managed as well as the supply side. And we've got lots of questions coming in, lots of interest in your presentation. From Dave Cleft, from a distribution board, are you measuring and monitoring per circuit only? And what platform are you reporting into? And how are you controlling energy use?
Right, so what we do is a process by which we define with the customers what's critical to their business, what's business important, and then what's kind of nice to have. So business critical, for example, would be your network and your network connection. Business important, maybe an air conditioner unit where you could do without it for 5 or 10 minutes. And nice to have might be the coffee machine in your staff room. So what we do is we monitor the input of energy that comes in, and when the grid goes down and the diesel genset starts, your energy cost has gone up by 6 to 8 times. So we can then cut off the energy supply to those that aren't critical in whatever situation you're in. Now, we measure down each circuit board, each circuit, but each circuit is basically got certain assets attached to it. So what we've done is a site survey before we go in, so we can identify that. And the main components, like air conditioning units, have their own circuit anyway. So we actually get down to component level, an individual item that's actually consuming the energy.
Peter, assuming you've finished answering that question.
Yes, I have, sorry.
Another question from Pete Denny is, what's the pain point here? How does inability to measure energy usage impact the users?
So the pain point is lots of things. We've got plenty of pilot studies, but I can give one example. So we went into a bank branch, and within 2 weeks, we could tell that branch that their air conditioning unit that was based in their server room was consuming twice the amount of energy that it should be, because what we do through our algorithms is we basically map what the piece of equipment should be using. The customer turned around to us and said, that's impossible because it's not rated to take that amount of energy. So we went physically, looked at the air conditioning unit. The temperature was fine in the server room, but the outside part of the air conditioning unit, the fan had broken. So the air conditioner was running twice as hard as it should be. It was a 20 rupee fix for a washer, but if that hadn't been fixed, it was £30 a month extra energy bill, and that unit was going to fail soon. So that's kind of an example of the pain points that a customer has because they don't know what's going on. Because if you don't measure, you don't get the data. All you've got is an opinion, and you're guessing how good things are.
Thank you very much, Peter.
Peter, thanks very much indeed. John, thank you. Peter, a great live example of use of your technology there. Conscious of time, and you're driving this through. So without further ado, what I'd really like to do now is introduce onto the main stage Michael Lowe. Michael, please join me on the main stage and tell us all about Sunswap. Michael, please join me.
I can see you, Andrew. I'm not being put onto the main stage just yet.
No, I can see you in the preview room. We have a preview room here, and there we are. You're on the main stage now, and your slide deck is shared, so you're good to go.
Brilliant. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mike Lowe, the CEO and co-founder of Sunswap. We're on a mission to decarbonize the cold chain with zero-emission transport refrigeration. Transport refrigeration units, or TRUs, as they're more commonly known, are mounted to the front of trailers, and they keep the produce inside cold. They're typically powered by a noisy and loosely regulated diesel engine. The companies that use them are supermarkets and logistics companies. These companies have a number of problems with their existing diesel TRUs. Principally, they're expensive to operate and will become even more expensive to operate in 2022 when the red diesel tax subsidy is removed. Therefore, the red diesel price will go up by 70%. Additionally, the growing consumer desire for sustainability is pushing supermarkets to become cleaner, but they do not have a viable zero-emission TRU available to them. This is the solution, the smart TRU. At the core of our product is our patent-pending adaptive battery capacity. It offers an adaptable approach to onboard energy storage to meet a wide range of customer requirements with only one product. The protected technology enables us to decouple the cost of the battery from that of the TRU, providing the only cost-competitive zero-emission TRU available on the market. Solar panels are used to provide additional onboard energy, and the refrigeration system uses state-of-the-art cooling hardware that will be the first in the market to utilize low-impact refrigerant. Lastly, the product has been developed in a standard TRU package so that it can be integrated with existing trailers and retrofitted in the field. The TRU market is established, huge, and growing steadily. Battery electric TRU sales are expected to follow the electric vehicle adoption curve with a 60% year-on-year growth. Our proposition is attractive for retailers because it offers huge savings over the lifetime of the product. Whilst the upfront cost is higher, the operational costs are a fraction of those for diesel units and provide a significant saving for the user. The UK supermarket in this case study saves £11 million over 5 years. The high replacement rate of units provides Sunswap with an opportunity for repeat high-value orders, generating significant revenue year on year. Our main competitors are Thermo King and Carrier, who occupy approximately 80% of the market today. Diesel units are becoming increasingly expensive to run due to changing regulations. We provide fleet operators with the clean and cost-competitive TRU that they are searching for. Before founding Sunswap, my co-founders and I worked together at Dearman developing cryogenic TRUs. The team deployed these TRUs with major UK and global retailers, including Unilever, Sainsbury's, and Marks and Spencer. We are now in the process of building an advisory board to support Sunswap's commercial and technical development. Sunswap is moving quickly. After being founded at the beginning of this year, we received our pre-seed funding from Sustainable Ventures in March. In the 6 months following, we filed our first patent, commissioned our working prototype, and began 2 Innovate UK grant-funded projects. This funding round will allow Sunswap to continue at speed by growing the team, building the next generation product, and securing our first sale by the end of 2021. We will also file further patents within the next year. Ahead of marketing and PR activities, we have gained considerable customer traction. We've won 2 grants, partnering with Cenex and Imperial, and these projects will provide us with direct access to large customers such as Sainsbury's, who have recently announced a £1 billion fund to reach net zero by 2040. Outside of our grant projects, we have been in various stages of the sales process for supermarkets, including site visits, requirements capture, and ongoing proposals. The customers we've been in discussion with account for 70% of the UK grocery market. Our business model is to sell our TRU directly to supermarkets and other fleet operators. We also offer our customers a battery as a service model, providing us with recurring revenue between sales. As we grow, the product offering will become more mature and open up further revenue streams to Sunswap. With TRU sales only, we expect to see our first revenues in 2021, and sales growing year on year until we reach net profit in 2024 and revenues of £40 million the year after. Our smart TRU directly addresses at least 4 sustainable development goals by improving air quality in cities, reducing the reliance on diesel, and by displacing CO2 emissions. Sunswap are now raising £350,000 worth of EIS eligible funding to file two additional patents, support Innovate UK projects, and secure our first customer contract. Thank you for listening, and I'll now welcome any questions.
Excellent presentation, really innovative solution. John, I'd love to introduce you now onto the main stage just to put a question to Sunswap from our audience. John, please join me on the main stage.
Hi, Michael. Contributing to the energy transition by moving away from diesel. Are the Sunswap units a standard size, or is a range available?
So the TRU package is a standard, so it can actually be retrofitted in place of a diesel. We do have variable sizes on our battery. A key point to mention is that the wide range of energy requirements from customer to customer, which is where our core technology comes in. That's the adaptive battery capacity. So we have one product, but we're able to adapt the battery capacity to suit the customer's needs. So yeah, it's one product. We're targeting the trailer market, but we're able to adapt that product to meet the bespoke customer needs.
And just time for another quick question from this one from Jonathan Tudor. How does Sunswap keep the panels clean during winter sludge that's on the road?
Yeah, that's a good question. You know, it goes without saying that there is inevitable is that these panels will be subject to dirt and other, contaminants that are on the road. What is important to mention that the supermarkets and retailers keep their trailers clean anyway all the time, because they often have marketing on the side of their trailers. So it's very common to see cleaning stations at depots, and it's just an additional operation in that cleaning process. So yeah, we don't see that as a huge issue to our solar panel efficiency.
Okay, thanks a lot, Michael. There's many more questions coming in, and of course these will be relayed to you for answer later on. Thanks a lot.
Brilliant. Thanks, John.
John, thank you very much. Well, thanks. And there's also the opportunity, don't forget, to head over to the stand in the exhibition area and have a chat to Sunswap there, and indeed all of our other presenters. What I'd like to do now is introduce onto the main stage our colleagues from Vortex IoT, Alex Dice. Alex, welcome onto the main stage here. I am very much looking forward to seeing the presentation. I think perhaps our AV guys are going to drive that for you. So if you can just say when you want them to move to the next slide, that'll be terrific. Alex, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Greenbackers, for giving us this chance to introduce our business and give you a sighting of what we do and how we are different. In Vortex, we build scalable end-to-end clean tech solutions using disruptive IoT technology. At our core, though, we're data-driven. We source, capture, and generate data that gives insight that in turn triggers decisions and actions. Next slide, please. For Vortex, it's all about making the physical digital. We focus on applications for smart cities to improve their health, environment, and resource efficiency, for transport infrastructure like rail to enhance their safety, security, and operating efficiency, and for heavy industries to retrofit the digital and transition them to greater productivity under Industry 4.0. Air quality monitoring and pollution detection, as you can see, are key applications, along with others that benefit resource efficiency. We use an innovative mix of trending technologies, especially in artificial intelligence and sensor arrays that are, if you like, the nervous system of the body of our solutions, while the mesh network is the backbone. Next slide, please. The problem I want to talk about today is air pollution. Globally, it's the 4th largest killer with over 7 million premature deaths per annum, according to the WHO. And now, worryingly, it is shown to weaken human defenses against COVID-19. Political inertia and funding needs are slowing down the clean air enforcement. But the real challenge is the technology gap. In Vortex, we believe in the maxim, if you can't measure it accurately, you can't manage it effectively. Most existing air monitor networks just don't cut it. They are costly, high maintenance, and not extensive enough in terms of geolocation, accuracy, and frequency. For example, in Greater London, there are only 14 official air monitor stations operational for a city of 9 million people, covering 600 square miles. Their monitoring depends mainly on statistical modeling. Today, with COVID, we all know about the vagaries of modeling. So this is where our cost-effective solutions meet the compelling need. Next slide, please. For smart cities, our product Parser delivers air monitoring combined with smart parking. By hyperlocal, we mean citywide coverage of air monitors down to the level of every street, every school, every hospital, wherever needed. What we call point of interest geofencing. We have 2 key differentiators. One is the multi-sensor capability to detect particulates and gases in a single device at a competitive price. And then there's causal analysis, where we use AI to track the source of pollution. Parser can also detect vacant on-street parking, classify vehicle types, and measure traffic flow and noise levels. It allows cities to monetize the solution through parking. Next slide, please. At an industrial scale, we work with Tata Steel, whose major steel plant in Port Talbot is one of the largest in Europe. We are retrofitting our mesh network of 1,500 devices across the whole site, not just for air quality, but also for tracking workers and other data, often from third-party sensors, creating what we call a super data highway, which is the transition towards digital twinning. Next slide, please. Where have we come from? Well, despite COVID, we've survived and thrived by winning research grants of over £3.5 million over the past 2.5 years, and UK government contracts where we are leading deployments in digital twinning in rail and steel, IoT cybersecurity, and recently 5G mobility. To meet demand, we're now scaling up our team. We have over 250 IP assets identified by Deloitte, our IP advisor, who help us position our IP for first mover advantage in what is a very fragmented global sensing market, which is worth $13 billion per annum. Gartner has elevated us to their magic quadrant for emerging smart city technology. As you can see, we've got some strong commercial traction. We're aiming for 1.4 million by the end of our financial year, and we're growing very rapidly, driven by our testbed clients and also our partner networks, some of whose names you can see there at the bottom of the slide. Our revenue model is evolving from R&D funded pilots into 2 to 3 year contracts for systems deployment. Moving to a pure SaaS model will be when our working capital allows us to absorb the upfront cost. We've had a successful 2 investment rounds, raising 1.4 million from a mix of angels and the Development Bank of Wales. Next slide, please. Our investment ask is to really help drive the scale, speed, and strength for the reasons mentioned. Our funding need is 2.5 to 3 million pounds, of which we've got a commitment of £500,000 from our key shareholder, the Development Bank of Wales, who will follow on. Our exit options are through a trade sale in 2 to 3 years. We've been approached 3 times already, and we're talking regularly with the corporate venture arms of major global companies. Next slide, please. This is the sort of wanted poster showing you our main team, the senior management team, and their mix of experience and disciplines. Also our board, who add value to the business by being experts in driving a scale up of businesses, as well as being experts in finance, private equity, and also data science, which is critical for any IoT business. Next slide, please. So come please and visit us, come and talk to us more, learn more, but more importantly, help us make the world a healthier, safer, and cleaner space for everyone. Thank
Excellent.
you.
Alex, thank you very much for a great presentation. Much appreciated. And as you said, people can go to the stand and chat to you there. In the meantime, John has been curating the questions. John, would you like to join us on the main stage and put one or two of those, please, to Alex? John, come on the main stage, please.
Hi, Alex. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me?
I can hear you.
Thank you. How are you protecting your IP in Vortex?
At the moment, primarily through trade secrets, talking with our IP advisors, Deloitte's, they think that we're cutting across a number of addressable markets and a number of patent areas, and they recommend that we don't go to a patent strategy yet. We do have one patent out there pending. We've got 8 in the pipeline, but we're primarily through trade secrets and obviously protecting trademarks.
Questions come in from Anonymous, which we get a few of. Are you using the equipment and monitoring in residential applications?
To date, we have started with, for example, we're deployed in 5 local authorities in the UK, 3 in London and 2 in Wales, and they are in residential areas as well. So we're monitoring around schools, the level of air quality. But as I said, with point of interest geofencing, a lot of the proposals we have currently in our pipeline are around how can we actually put our air monitors around key areas like schools, care homes as well. So we are looking at that, but under the auspices of the local government's priorities.
Thank you, Alex, and for all that you're doing for the very real problem of air quality in this country and elsewhere. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Indeed, Alex,
come and visit us.
Thank you very much indeed for that, John. Thank you very much for curating those questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, we approach our final pitch of the day, which you'll be really glad of. I'm sure it's been a long session for you. Grateful for you for staying with us. Just remember, you'll get the opportunity shortly to vote for pitch of the day, and also the opportunity to see briefly from our event partners who will say a couple of words. We're very grateful to them, of course, to helping us to put the event on. And just a reminder, if you can, to complete those feedback forms, which you should have in your inboxes. The prize for the pitch of the day, bottle of whiskey, where we have a couple of presenters. Of course, we might even stretch to 2 bottles of whiskey. I hope you are enjoying the day so far. Obviously, we are really pleased with the some plus 500 attendees today, and really pleased that we can speak to so many of you in these really strained and strange times. And clearly, we are delighted to be represented in Houston now through our director there, Mark Hannigan. What I'd like to do now is just ask you, please, to remember the live Q&A, and remember that whilst we're only able to put 1 or 2 questions to the presenters, we will be collecting all of them. And these questions are really important to us and to our presenters. They do help us to create a feedback loop. What I'd like to do now is welcome onto the main stage Nick from from WePower. Thanks very much for joining us today. Nick, hello, and our last presentation. So it's over to you to tell us all about WePower.
Hi everyone. WePower goal is to facilitate energy transactions of any size directly with producers and maximize the practical value of sustainable energy. The energy system is changing, with more renewables getting connected to the grid, but the way we buy energy and trade is not. Complicated energy procurement process prevents companies from leveraging benefits of sustainable energy, especially when the outcome of purchasing sustainable energy needs to be optimized for better results, as it's typically only concentrated around affordability. To achieve this, we connect energy market participants in a meaningful way to enable direct energy transactions, providing them with cost-efficient solutions of buying, selling, and managing their energy portfolios. We provide a radically simplified energy procurement experience for all market participants, providing with never seen before flexibility and the easy way to discover, choose, and sign source transparent energy contracts. We currently offer platform as a service solution Elemental, providing utility retailer type client with a full lead to deal platform as a service, which is currently deployed with 2 retailers in Australia, enabling them to rapidly develop and offer new sustainable energy offerings while providing amazing experience. This way, they can provide access to renewable energy and more innovative energy products for their clients and gain new ones. We work directly with small and medium customers to up to medium scale customers as well through Energy Control Center, providing them with tools to track energy portfolio they have and easily procure additional renewable energy from marketplace and get all the additional services they might require from the retailers offering their services through our platform today. Last but not least, we offer our wholesale PPA marketplace, which allows larger energy users to secure direct contracts with renewable energy producers through a standardized and streamlined process, and retailers to secure additional renewable energy capacities that could be offered to buyers seeking new sustainable energy through the secondary marketplace. WePower platform offers many new capabilities to design, buy, and sell energy contracts, from the ability to manage large, complicated energy deals with overlapping timelines to one-off small-scale contracts. Our revenue model is commission-based, where we charge a percentage of the value of the contract concluded through the platform over the length of the contract on a monthly basis. Talking about competitions, the space of energy transactions is quite broad, and although there are some similarities in what the companies are doing, the difference is quite large. Companies that come close to what we do today are Level 10 out of US, that is focused on matching small-scale developers and buyers for power purchase agreements, while Neo Network focuses on providing market intelligence and advice to buyers. In comparison to the 2, WePower is focused on the full ecosystem cycle, and we do work with consultants and advisors to the sellers and buyers of renewable energy, helping everyone to achieve better results and maximize the value through access to best large-scale renewable energy projects available locally, and being a one-stop shop for any company, corporate buyer, to optimize and build optimal energy portfolio. We have an ever-growing pool of green energy available for direct procurement across Australia, in Queensland, New South Wales, Victoria, and Southern Australia, with over 1 gigawatt of capacity available for sale over the next 2 to 3 years, as well as a pool of corporate and industrial customers with over 1 terawatt hour of annual demand. We have 2 WePower platform as a service deployments in Australia, as I mentioned, providing an end-to-end utility scale platform with a combined portfolio of 13 terawatt hours per annum. And why we do that? So 2/3 of the global energy consumption is done by the commercial and industrial customers, and that's where the most impact could be found. All surveys show that when given the opportunity, the vast majority of corporate and industrial customers prefer to procure their energy from renewable source. However, the process to achieve these goals, even for highly motivated companies, is very complicated, and the access to even smaller companies is unavailable. After the successful launch in Australia, we're currently entering European market and looking for innovator retailers looking to rapidly launch and test new cost-efficient local sustainable projects offerings in Europe. We're a team of more than 15 energy market experts with unique experience working in finance, energy, and digital transformation. We're headquartered in Lithuania and a commercial office in Australia, with experience of successfully delivering large-scale digital energy systems and customer-facing products. Last year, we raised capital from Morabeni Corporation, and this year we just kicked off our 5 million A round, with half of it already committed from strategic investors. The capital will be used for scaling up operations in Australia and doubling down on our European efforts of growing the company closer to home. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you very much indeed, Nick. Great presentation. Wrapping up that element of our event today so well. What I'd like to do now, Nick, is bring my colleague John Steedman back onto the main stage. I don't think John's worked this hard in a long time. And I'd like him to put one or two of the many questions that I can see are coming in here to you. John, please join me on the main stage.
Hi, Nick. So PPA, but not as we know it, I guess. Have you encountered any countries where buyer aggregation or fractional PPAs would be restricted?
Well, there are still, let's say, countries where there's no, the market is not liberalized, like for example China, where you cannot, there's no market present to which you can peg your contracts, and the price of electricity is fixed by long-term agreements. But as a model of fractionalizing energy, yeah, it's no, although yeah, I know one. For example, in Australia as well, half of Australia belongs to NEM, which is an energy market, and half of the country is a power market where you sell the capacity. So sometimes PPA don't work there.
Okay. And lastly, so what's the sort of minimum purchase through auction of fractional contracts in your experience?
Yeah, the smallest one we've done so far was 1 gigawatt-hour per annum. But naturally, you can go smaller. It depends on the structure. If the project is very close to operational and there is an anchor buyer already in place, you can definitely squeeze in more smaller customers into the process and move forward.
Well, thanks very much, Nick, for presenting WePower to us. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Indeed. Nick, thank you. Thank you very much indeed. Just a reminder, if you want to speak to Nick further, please don't hesitate to get over to the to do now is put up the poll for the pitch of the day. The prize is a bottle of Scotland's finest, and helpfully added there by my colleague Robert Hokin, are the tasting notes. So that poll, we will flash it up just now. Please, AV team, if you could put that onto the main stage just for a minute or two, and we can have people voting for it. So this is quite a nervous time for our presenters, who are just a little unsure whether they're going to win that excellent bottle of whiskey. So please be voting for that as we progress. What I'd like to do now is introduce to you our event partners. What we've tried to do at Greenbackers over the years is build up an ecosystem of partners, trying to bring in similarly minded businesses to ourselves, who are there to help and support those who are in these critical early days. And among those, of course, based here in Scotland, Scottish Development International, former colleagues of mine from a few years ago, and
can you see my slides?
Really happy to introduce Louis Duplessis from SDI here, and onto the main stage, Louis. Please join me. What we'll do is we'll share your slides, and if necessary, we'll drive them from our AV room. So Louis, please join me on the main stage. And we see you, and we see your slide deck, Louis. So if you want to just ask our AV team to advance those slides when you're ready, that would be great. Over to you, Louis.
Andrew, thanks so much. And thank you for having SDI as part of really great event this afternoon. Good to see a number of Scottish companies. Also thrilled to have Ivan McKee, Scotland's Trade and Investment Minister, do the opening address. SDI are a partner of this event, and I think it'll be a great opportunity for us just to talk through very quickly what our offering is to the international investment community. Very quickly, Scottish Development International is Scotland's lead investment promotion agency. We've got a global presence, 35 offices, 23 countries, but also importantly, we are centrally positioned within Scotland across the ecosystem to work with Scotland's innovative companies and projects. So what is our service offering? Number one, we are a facilitator of international debt and equity investment into Scotland's companies and projects. We have good and growing relationships with a diverse network of international investors. We are looking to expand that. We are looking to continue to engage with deployers of capital, whether that's debt or equity, into Scottish opportunities. Also, we have a growing pipeline of investment-ready opportunities across a range of sectors, and essentially our role is to match demand and supply. So we work with companies and projects that are raising capital, and we facilitate an introduction to those for those companies on an informed basis to our growing network of international investors. What do we focus on? Essentially, we are broad focused across a number of economic priority areas for Scotland. Low carbon is our main offering, but we do obviously focus on markets in digital, health, well-being, high value engineering, etc. And we offer a promotional platform to project sponsors and developers, but most importantly for this afternoon, to companies who are raising equity. And that's equity raised all the way from seed through the series A, B, C, etc. So essentially that's our offering. We are an additional entry point for investors into Scotland. We would love to hear from any investors that are on this call today, to see how we can work alongside you, understand your needs, and facilitate your entry into Scotland and your capital deployment into Scotland. Those are our contact details. We'll be around this afternoon. Look forward to reaching out to you and speaking to you then. Again, thanks to Greenbackers for a really good event, and we, as SDI, are thrilled to be part of this session this afternoon. Andrew, that's me done. Over to you. Thank you.
And remember, everybody, that SDI has offices all over the world, and you can engage in your own country if you wish to. We at Greenbackers are proud and pleased to have introduced one or two of the companies to help kick off the green investment portfolio also.
Indeed.
And I'm looking forward very much to continuing our work with the emerging Scottish National Investment Bank. So Louis,
Indeed.
Thanks very much, and everybody please go over and see the SDI stand in our virtual exhibition area. What I'd like to do next, call up onto the main stage Sarah Palmer from the Granted consultancy. Granted have been with us really since the beginning. Sarah, welcome to the main stage, and we're very grateful for your support.
Thank you.
You do some really great work. I'd like you to tell our audience about that now. Sarah, over to you.
Brilliant. Okay. Let's see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, so we're not seeing your slides yet. If you could talk to them, what I'll do in the meantime is I'll get our AV team to see if they can.
Can you see my screen?
No, we don't see your screen. We just see you at the moment. Now we see we're seeing your slides, just not on full presentation view, but we can see them well enough.
Good. Can you see now?
Yes, we see them perfectly now.
Lovely. Okay. Well, thank you. And yeah, thank you. It's been a great event, Greenbackers. We're proud to be sponsoring partners. So just to briefly introduce Granted, we are specialists in non-dilutive funding. So over the last 10 years, we have unlocked over £75 million worth of grant funding and R&D tax credits for our clients, who tend to be the game changers, like the companies that we've seen today that really are creating innovations in the space that they're in. We're really proud that all of the grant writers and R&D specialists that we have work in-house at Granted, and we have up to PhD level specialists in areas around sort of plastics, clean tech, recycling, and so on. I mean, typically the funding would go to slightly earlier stage companies pre-commercialization, but there's no sort of limit to the size of companies that it can go to. It's really about the innovation project that they're doing. So please do get in touch if you have a project and you'd like us to scope out whether there's any potential non-dilutive funding for you.
Excellent. That's really kind of you, Sarah. We're very much obliged to you for joining us today. And once again, we just encourage parties to head over and chat to you some more on the virtual stand later. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you.
Okay, what I'd like to do now is introduce onto the main stage our colleagues from Marks and Clark. We are being delighted to work with them and introduce them.
I know.
Into this. Marks and Clark, if you're ready, could you join us on the main stage, please? I'm just not sure if they're quite ready for us yet. Remember, of course, that you can go and see everybody who is here today and presenting, and also our event sponsors in our event area. And don't forget to be voting for the pitch of the day. What I'd like to do now is just give you a quick update on that. It's very tight. There is a leader. I'll share that with you. I'll share that with you shortly. Now I'm pleased to say that Thomas Prock from the Marks and Clark has been able to join us on the main stage. You see his slides there now. And Thomas, hi, you're live on the main stage now, and we can see your slides. So please, over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for having us. We're delighted to be here again. Marks & Clark's a firm of patent and trademark attorneys. Our aim really is to secure the intellectual property that our clients have developed. Now, it might not come as a surprise to hear that intellectual property is within innovative firms, of course, but really it goes further than that. It is with all companies that are in business. If it's not patents, it's trademarks, it's know-how, it's trade secrets, whatever it might be. Now, as again, a number that is often cited is that about 80% of company values may well reside in the company's IP. Now, that's not true across the board, but it's certainly true for companies that have very little brick and mortar investment, startups being examples of that. So the question is, well, how do you lock that value that resides in the IP into the company? And really the answer is to have an IP strategy to make sure that you can exploit your own innovation without stepping on other people's toes. Now, what you can see here in front of you is an extremely pixelated map of the world with the areas where we actually are present highlighted. We're in a business that originated and still has a big focus in the UK, but we're in other parts of Europe too. We're in North America and significantly in the Far East, not least in China. I mention that because it puts us in a great situation to actually provide a good strategy, IP strategy that is actually applicable worldwide, based on and using our colleagues in various parts of the world, not just our own knowledge. Now, I said earlier that the key to locking in the value in the companies lies in securing, in having an RP strategy. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to go all guns blazing into protection strategies. That can be part of it, but doesn't have to be part of it. You've heard earlier from companies that have made some informed choices about that, and that's exactly what it's all about. An informed choice, ultimately, to understand the risk associated with your IP, be that with the costs associated with you might spend on it, be that with the dangers of not protecting, be that with the dangers of actually disclosing to other people. We're set up, and we have been doing this for many years indeed, to protect, to help you craft that strategy, to help you protect what needs protecting, or indeed help you tell you what you need to do in case you don't want to protect things through registered rights, for example. That's cheaper, but it does have to inform your behavior regardless. Otherwise, you do not have that strategy. Well, you might ask, why do I need a strategy in the first place? The simple reason is that if you're asked, well, what is your market advantage? IP is part of that. The hurdles that you can put up to other parties entering the market, they're partly defined by IP. A strategy for that is important. Secured IP rights might be important. Conversely, of course, if you have a market proposal that steps on other people's toes, they might be able to stop you and shut you down in a day. That's not really a desirable situation to be in. So again, it's a question of eyes open and strategizing. We are here to help you. We've got very much experience, in fact, working with startup and small companies where the constraints, I guess, are really rather well understood, and where we know not everything can be done, but it is quite possible to actually economize there and make those choices that ultimately you have to make, prioritize, and come out with a strategy that gets your IP investment ready, maybe with some actions deferred. The point, again, is understanding risk and managing risk. And within that, I think we have quite a few extremely happy clients that have navigated the early stages of their company history quite successfully with us. With that, I'll hand back the floor to Greenbackers. Thank you.
And all of you interested in that, please take the opportunity to go and meet Thomas and colleagues back on the stand there. Thomas, thank you very much indeed. What I'd like to do now is introduce another of our event partners to say a few words about their offering. This is Effects. I'd love for you to come and join us on the main stage. We've been working alongside Effects for a couple of years now, and we're very happy that they're able to join us today. We're very grateful to them for all of their support, and they will be manning their own stage, their own booth, rather on the virtual exhibition. Of course, Alex, welcome onto the main stage. You're with us and live now. So please tell us a little bit about your offering, and if my colleagues are driving your deck, if you just ask them to say next slide, then please do that. And what I will do is let you know what we are seeing on the main stage. So over to you.
Thanks very much. And thank you. Can you see my slides okay?
Well, we can't see your slides at the moment. We just see you.
Oh, okay, no problems. Well, look, I'll speak to the slides. Essentially, first of all, thanks so much for having me. It's been really interesting listening to all of the talks that that have gone before me. Essentially, AFEX offer managed foreign exchange services, and we do this to a huge range of multinationals as well as investors, through from the private investor to the fund to the institutional, including some household names. We do this with three broad pillars of activity. One is transactional. We take one currency, we turn it into another, and we deliver it somewhere. The second, which is the main part of our business, is risk management. We use very simple and sometimes very complex and everything in between products to help flatten out the volatility which is inherent in the currency market, to ensure that losses are mitigated and profits are protected for companies working internationally or making international investments. Sorry, go
on. The AV team, when you want to go next slide, they will drive it for you.
Next slide, go ahead.
Okay.
Thanks so much. So we and the third part of our business is really fintech and treasury management. We use market leading APIs for frictionless, instantaneous payments, and we have a market leading AFEX Direct platform for online treasury management. And we do this out of 25 global offices and have been doing it since 1979. Traditionally, I would say that we are privately held and headquartered in Los Angeles. Whilst we're still headquartered in Los Angeles, we were earlier this year bought by FleetCor Technologies Inc., which is a Fortune 500 New York Stock Exchange listed company with a $20 billion balance sheet. So companies are sort of well provided for when working with us. And we're, of course, fully regulated across every jurisdiction in which we work, including the FCA here in London. So if you're keen to chat more about how we might be able to work with you, come and grab me on the stand or reach out offline and we can have a chat. But that's all from me for now.
Thank you very much indeed. And it's really kind of you to support the event. We're very grateful. We'd just like to recommend to our attendees to head on over to your stand if they would like a chat to you. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
So what I'd like to do now is introduce one of our long-term original sponsors, a friend of mine personally, from Martin Aitken, who's been with us from the very beginning of the Greenbackers pitch in Scotland House, when we were able to actually physically meet. Mark McRae from Martin Aitken. I'd love for you to come on the main stage, Mark, and tell us just a little bit about your offering to this marketplace. Mark, hi, welcome onto the main stage. You're here and live now, and I see, like me, you have one of these strange things around your neck that we used to wear many years ago, called a tie. I have to say, this is the first time in many months I've worn one at all. But over to you, Mark.
Yeah, well, I'm an accountant, so I wear my tie to bed, of course, all the time. I just want to see if I can share my slide with you. Let's see. I do not think that is correct. No, I don't have. I can't seem to share it properly. However, never mind. I'll just talk to it. I think I just wanted to tell you a little bit about us. I'm a partner at Martin Aitken. We're a accountancy firm based in Glasgow, of about 100 people, but we do work nationwide in the UK and internationally as well. We do all the things that you'd expect an accountancy firm to do in terms of tax work and audits and payroll and VAT and all those good things. But we do specialise in small and medium-sized enterprises, and in particular high-growth companies, new starts, etc. And we do a lot of work in terms of getting them investor-ready, financial planning, business plans, financial projections, and so on, and then going out and helping them get the relevant funding, whether it's debt, equity, or grants, or whatever. We do have a strong history within the renewable energy clean tech sector. I've been involved in it for well over 10 years now. So we've been involved in a lot of projects as the market's changed and adapted, and of course we're now very much dealing with some of the new technologies that we've heard about today. So a couple of things that we've been doing a lot of in that space in the tax side, which may be of interest, is looking at the Enterprise Investment Scheme and the Seed Enterprise Investment Scheme, and that's been mentioned a couple of times today already, which is a scheme that gives investors in certain young trading companies very good tax breaks in terms of their investment. So we do a lot of work in making sure that companies and who are looking for investment are structured in the right way to get that badge and that assurance, that they can then go and provide that incentive for investors. And also, again, what's been mentioned earlier is research and development tax credits as well, which have proved very popular in the last few years in terms of making applications, and can lead to very, very large tax breaks with the revenue over here, and perhaps even refunds of money that's been spent in the early years as well. And it's always nice to get a check back from HMRC. So my details, I'm sure, can be shared. They were on the slide, but we can share them later. And if anyone really is needing help within the UK or looking to invest in the UK, then we can provide a one-stop shop where we can help with all kind of financial matters. Worked with some of the Greenbackers guys over the years as well, and as I say, we know the kind of market we're talking about today. So please feel free to drop me a line or give me a call anytime for any guidance. Happy to help. Thanks, Andrew.
Excellent, Mark. Thank you very much. And you have a virtual stand too, so please head on over there now, and there'll be plenty of people, I'm sure, waiting to meet you. What I'd like to do now is introduce our final event partner to make a few remarks. The amazing Solar Impulse Foundation, one of my true heroes, Bertrand Piccard, who built and flew a solar plane around the world, set up the foundation. And John and Robert and I were fortunate enough to meet some of the colleagues in Paris very early this year when travel was permitted. And since then, we forged a closer relationship, and we are some of the very many, some 400 plus, I believe, independent assessors of solutions for the Solar Impulse Foundation. I'll let you, Victoria, come on and join me on the main stage. And Victoria, it'd be great to hear a little bit about the foundation and to hear what you're up to. So, Victoria, we can see you and we can see your deck. So over to you.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm hearing myself though.
It's okay. We can hear you fine if you can cope with that.
Okay. All right. So yeah, nice to be with you guys today. Found those technology, the presentations today that were super interesting. Actually, two of the presenters are already a member of the Solar Impulse Foundation Alliance. So I'm here today to just explain a bit what is the 1000 Solution Challenge, kind of the new phase of the Solar Impulse Foundation. You might remember the round around the world with the Solar Impulse aircraft of Bertrand Piccard. So the phase after that, to take it further and really make decision makers understand that we can do today many things that people think that they are still impossible. Our challenge now is to identify 1000 solutions that both protect the nature and are financially viable. So we've developed a label that you can see on the slide. So the Efficient Solutions label, that is really the only and first label that merge both economy and environment. So today, out of the 1000 that we're looking for, we already have 814 labeled solutions. We still have a few spots left. So I encourage the 10 companies that I've pitched today to apply for the label. You can see that those solutions are in more than 100 countries, and we welcome solutions in water, energy, waste management, smart cities, as well as industry. In any clean tech actually solution can apply. The only, I would say, eligibility that you need to take into consideration is the TRL level. So we really just accept TRL 6 and above as the eligibility criteria. So what we do is that we evaluate solutions based on a form that innovator fill in. We work with more than 400 external experts. Each of those forums is sent to 3 experts, and they have to validate that those technologies are feasible, have good environmental benefits, and also are profitable. So we really assess the solution in all of those 3 axes. The profitability aspect is shown by the client economic incentive. So we really want to understand whether or not the total cost of ownership of that solution is the same or even lower than the mainstream alternative. And the profitability as well is assessed by the seller's profitability. So basically, by selling that solution, the seller, the innovator's company, needs to be profitable within the next 5 years. So for innovators that are listening to us on the line, or even investors that are listening to us on the line, please note that the label is not only seed of excellence, of credibility, it's also a good access to market. We work with more than 250 seekers, cleantech seekers that look at our portfolio, about 70, 80 investors as well. And so Greenbackers and their partners are also in our ecosystem and watching at those solutions. We also contribute to environmental advocacy and support entrepreneurs in their own advocacy work. And please note as well that the evaluation process is not a go or no go. You actually have feedback from experts all along the way and receive an assessment report at the end of the process, whether or not you get the label. And everything is for free. We are a non-profit organization. We are based in Switzerland. And yeah, I encourage every innovator on the line to really apply for the label, and to investors on the line to look at our portfolio and join our e-pitch sessions as well. Those are the partners that fund our nonprofit organizations, and those are also some of the seekers I told you about before. So for innovators that have the label, those big corporations look at the portfolio all the time. So this is it for my presentation today. Thank you very much. I have a few links here, and they're all available in our virtual stand as well. Thank you very much.
Victoria, thank you very much. Encourage people not only to go to your virtual stand later, but also to go onto the Solar Impulse website, where I believe is perhaps the best selfie I've ever seen, taken by Bertrand Piccard in a small hole in the fuselage of his plane, with a phone on the end of a stick. Absolutely incredible. Please go and visit that. Please go and visit the Solar Impulse stand also. Victoria, thank you very much indeed for your presentation. So everybody, what I'd like to do now is just run through the last few Greenbackers slides. If I could have those and myself flashed up onto the main stage, please, that would be great. So our grateful thanks to all, of course, of our event partners. As I said, we have many of them spoken today, and they all have their very own stands. And we have the results available of the poll, of course, for the best pitch, an excellent bottle of whiskey available for that. And what I can tell you before I get onto the main stage is that there is a clear leader currently, and we'll monitor this until the end of the event. But right now we have RAB Microfluidics in lead. The very close second currently is Sunswap. So thanks for voting in that, and we'll keep you updated as the event draws to conclusion, and obviously through our social media we will let you know how that's going. So the other thing I'd ask you not to forget is to fill out the form, the feedback form, which is online, and that really does help us direct traffic to you. It really means that we will only come to you in respect of things in which you are actually interested. In terms of what's next for us, Obviously, we'll send a recording of the pitch today, so you can scroll through that at your leisure. I mentioned the feedback form. We're also able to send to you links of the mini data rooms that we have on each of the pitching companies today. They include our two special guests, the guys from Vestemi Radbot and the guys from QBC, who I would remind you also have their own virtual booths. Great progress from both of those companies who are operating right now in the marketplace. And eager to secure conversations with you. Our next pitch, May 2021. Investors, feel free to nominate companies, perhaps in your portfolio. And entrepreneurs, please note applications are open in January. Let us know what we can do to support you. You can join us, of course, at COP26 in Glasgow. If we can be a guide for you, we're very happy to do that. One thing to look out for is the Greenbackers 26 text for COP26. We are launching a new program. A little bit more news about that shortly, but inevitably it sits around there being 26 companies on our platform that we're going to seek funding for by the time the COP comes around. The exhibition area, of course, is now open, and it will stay open for quite a while now. And we would encourage you to head there. Really grateful thanks to you all for joining us today, and a real great thanks to the Greenbackers team. If it's possible to get them onto the main stage, that would be terrific. I'm not sure how easy that is for our AV team, and just to underline that our AV team who've been coping with all these issues are based in Sydney, Australia, and some of our presentations, of course, have come from US of A and some from mainland Europe. So we're really covering the globe now. Anyway, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, what I'd like to do now is draw this live session on the main stage to an end, and just encourage you to head now to the virtual exhibition area. Our grateful thanks from Greenbackers for joining us today. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Cheers, boys.